The data center is actually being built to enhance our capabilities in Middle East and Africa to bring more cloud-based services into the market, where, as you've heard through some of the presentations today, only 1% of the data center market exists in Africa. So there's a massive opportunity within the African market to grow data centers. And considering the population explosion that we expect by 2030, we do need lots of data centers, lots of computing power available in this continent for us to be able to process and execute on what the market requires from that perspective. So we do see this as a foray into Africa. We do see us building many more data centers in the future. And the principle behind it is that Africa is an untapped continent in terms of cloud assets. And this is where we see the opportunity coming for an organization like ourselves. Cloud customers would benefit from the project on the basis of us being able to co-host hyperscalers and co-location type customers within the same facility. So it takes away the latency, it takes away the ability to interconnect, via very different networks, etc. So the ability to be on net, so to speak, within the same facility is a phenomenal opportunity to cut down latency in customers who choose to be, part of hyperscalers and obviously run co-location as their secondary option for their business applications and the like. Yeah, we are very excited about this. With NTT's investment in Africa as a continent, this is very exciting for a company like Dimension Data, for our customers and our people alike, and we're looking forward to growing on this data center that's been built here in Joburg 1, the phase 2 expansion as and when it becomes available, and then growing this footprint across the cities like Cape Town and Nairobi, and then further into the continent. The cloud consumption is pretty low at the moment. I mean, Africa typically follows the emerged markets around 4 to 7 years in terms of its explosion and expansion. So we see this as the tip of the iceberg for cloud consumption within Africa. We see it certainly growing. It's definitely the compounded annual growth is almost double every year as we see it right now. But we do see an explosion. As more data centers become available, it's going to be easier for customers to consume these assets across different verticals and industry verticals, etc. So my perception of it says within the next probably 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a massive amount of data centers being built in Africa, a massive amount of consumption in cloud in Africa. It'll become easier, it'll become less sophisticated, and clients will migrate naturally to that. It wouldn't even be a question.
NTT is a global leading player in the data center infrastructure business everywhere. And we are part of the digital backbone, really supporting the take-up of digitalization in all markets. With coming to Africa, I think we want to actually also support our clients, but also the economy to make digital transformation happen in Africa. And this is our first data center where we break ground on that journey. This is not the end, but a start of our expansion in Africa. There are more markets in Africa like Cape Town, and particularly the economic center in Eastern Africa around Kenya and Nairobi are certainly on the roadmap for expansion. There are quite some interesting statistics around the African market and the dynamic of digitalization. We have so many demand and a dynamic need for mobile phone subscriptions, applications, and all this. This is up and coming. However, we only have 1% of the worldwide data center facilities and capacity currently in Africa. So there's a lot to catch up. There's a lot to bring to the country, and we want to be part of that, absolutely. Data center infrastructure is asset heavy, but it's also a long-term play. So with the help and the big deep topics of a global player like NTT and external partners for investments, I think we feel well equipped to actually follow through our full expansion ambition with a start here in Joburg. A big part are our brothers and sisters of Dimension Data, who help us to establish the local presence, who help us build it, but also to help us to bring it to the market. Going forward, we will always have a selection of partners to help us construct our capacity, but also alongside the investment which it's taking to make it happen. So a variety of partners which we also bring experience with from other parts of the world like Europe and America.